So there's a variety of angels that have a variety of different roles with a variety of different abilities. So these are all angels, but it's actually the lowest level of angels that's actually called angels. Now the highest rank of the angels is called the seraphim. The word seraph means on fire, and seraphim means those who are on fire. They're burning out of love for God. The Old Testament describes them as having 6 wings, and they're just saying, holy, holy, holy. And why do they keep repeating this? Because God deserves fitting adoration and love. We also have the cherubim. The cherubim are known for their knowledge, and they're described in the Old Testament as these great animals, large creatures with wheels, and they've got all these weird analogies, but they're also described as being the ones that guard the holy temple, that guard the holy things. The first angel classification that we hear about is in the book of Genesis, where Adam and Eve sinned and God closed the garden and he set a cherubim with a flaming sword. Why? He's guarding what is holy. You can no longer come into the Garden of Eden. When Moses is making the Ark of the Covenant, God instructs Moses, put 2 cherubim on top of the Ark of the Covenant. So the cherubim are not only guardians of what is holy, but also knowledge. Now the rest of them, the thrones, dominations, virtues, powers, principalities, I'm going to give you a quote from St. Augustine. So St. Augustine, a doctor of the church, said, "What difference is there between these terms? Let those who can tell us and prove their answer do so, because I must confess that I do not know." Scripture simply does not elaborate on these choirs. Although we do hear in Scripture from St. Paul that our battle is not against flesh and blood, that our battle is against principalities and powers. So we know that some of these principalities and powers have fallen. Now there's 3 different hierarchies. This was something that came up by the Pseudo-Dionysius the Areopagite, and St. Thomas Aquinas was like, yeah, this sounds good. So all of this stuff is kind of speculative. The top hierarchy is said to be concerned with the things of heaven, to be concerned with things concerning God, with his worship, adoration. All of them are doing that, but these are just specifically focused on the love, on his virtues, contemplating him. The middle hierarchy is said to have to do with things concerning the cosmos and the universe and making sure that everything is going on in order. So St. Thomas Aquinas would say that God is our first cause, but that angels are the second cause. So God likes to use instruments. The same way that Jesus came, Jesus didn't stay with us and do everything for us. Jesus chose to use his people to reach out to one another. In the same way, God, the Father, uses his angels to watch over and do things for him. And so the middle hierarchy has to do with the universe, keeping creation in order, kind of like guardians of the galaxy. And that the lower hierarchy is concerned with the life and the dealings of men. So archangels, this is the one we all know. Today is the Feast of the Archangels. Wow, I love St. Michael. I love St. Raphael. My name is Gabriel. Now their names, they're the only ones in Scripture, the only names we have of angels. And their names, they mean something. So every name that God gave us in Scripture of an angel has to actually do with their message and their mission. Michael, what does that mean? That means, who is like unto God? We'll talk about that story in a moment where Satan fell and he says, I will not serve. I want to be like God. And he says, who is like unto God? And then they get down here. Okay, right? And then we have Gabriel. What is Gabriel? It means strong man of God. So Gabriel came to announce the strong man of God. Oh, this is making sense. So we have names associated with their tasks on earth. The mission of the angel is to give a message in this case, and the message was of the strong man of God. And then Raphael means God heals. I really like Raphael. If you want to know the insights and the brain of an angel, the best thing to do is to read the book of Tobit, because in the book of Tobit you have the longest discourse of any angel in all of Scripture. He talks at length and he gives all these insights, and a lot of the insights that I'm going to talk about later, I'm going to take from the book of Tobit. It mentions that there are 7. I am one of the 7 that stands before the throne of God. Well, what are their names? I want this one. Oh, no. Trust me, St. Michael, St. Gabriel, St. Raphael are good enough for you. The church under Pope Zachary has said we should not have a devotion to angels under the names that we find in apocryphal literature. And another thing that the church warns against, do not name the angels. Do not name your guardian angel. I know for a long time it has been a very pious practice. I've heard of different very holy people who had a little nickname for their angels, their guardian angels. The church has said, don't do that. Why? To name a person is to have authority over them. So it is inappropriate for you to name your angel. Why? Because you are not the Lord of your angel. The Lord is the Lord of your angel. You don't realize that you're talking down to a creature that is way, 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 way above you. And another thing that the church warns against is any practice in which you ask the angel their name. And this is something very popular amongst pious people as well. If you go before the Blessed Sacrament and you say 3 Hail Marys, 3 Our Fathers, and the Guardian Angel Prayer and the St. Michael Prayer, and you're quiet, and you get a pen, and you move the pen, the angel will move the pen, and then they'll tell you his name. And you're saying, what is this? Beelzebub. What is it? Oh, my guardian angel, Beelzebub. Oh, Beelzebub, be with me everywhere. Oh, Beelzebub, I love you. Beelzebub, please go to my mom. She's really sick right now. Give her some consolation. He's like, thank you for asking. So we don't want to do this. There are websites that you can go to where people catalog the names of demons. So it's not good to use the names of demons that are not used in Scripture. So outside of Scripture, the names of demons that might be obtained through exorcism or through some other means, they're not good to use because they actually get glory and like, aha, somebody said my name. They're calling upon me. They're giving me attention. And then they'll want that attention because they're like, how many times can I get you to say it? So they'll start off very good and very attractive, but don't do that. Another thing you do not want to do is do not talk down to demons or do not talk down to Satan. Do not belittle him. It's disrespectful, and he does have the power to annihilate you in a second. God will most likely keep him from doing that, but one thing that we're going to learn in this presentation is that God honors free will. So our angels are very special and they're very good, but if you do something that you're calling upon an evil spirit or you're calling upon this, God will allow it to happen because he's not going to stop you. You want to do that, you're free to do that. And so now we'll talk about the fall of the angels. 1/3 of all the angels fell. We don't necessarily know what the temptation was. So we know that when God created all the angels, they all had a certain degree of natural knowledge, and then God gave them some other bit of information concerning what their roles might be, and because of that, they said, I will not serve. They take great abhorrence to the fact that we are natural creatures in bodies, spirits and bodies united. It's an insult to them that we deteriorate. It's an insult to them that we have the possibility of dying, that we're so slow in our nature. And so one of the ways that they tempt us will be primarily through the body. They'll tempt you to lust, they'll tempt you to anger, they'll tempt you to gluttony. But angels aren't capable of committing lust. Angels aren't capable of committing gluttony. Why? Because they don't have physical bodies. The only sins that angels are capable of, they're only capable of the sins of pride and envy, because these are spiritual sins. We say that pride is the worst of them all. Well, because that attitude is saying, I will not serve, I don't want to do God's will. So there are a couple of theories, and we'll talk about these couple of theories, as to why the angels fell. What could it have been? So the first and the most obvious is, I myself, God, am going to become a man, and you're going to worship me as God in this human body. Some theologians say that it was one further, and it was one more, even more, and that is the Blessed Mother. So not only are you going to worship God, man united, but I am going to elevate not a divinity, but a pure human in a natural body above you as my mother. And she will be called the Queen of all the angels. So, what the heck? I can understand worshiping divinity and honoring and serving divinity. I'm not going to honor and serve a human, pure human above me. I'm the most brilliant of all creation. And this would kind of go along with the idea that who did Satan tempt first in the garden? He went to the woman. Oh, is this the woman that you're going to put above me? I'll show you about this woman. So that's a possibility there. But we know for a fact that Satan hates Mary, even if that's not the case, because the incarnation. Everything was going smoothly until she said yes, because once Jesus came on the scene, it was over. He's not going to fail. He's God. He's going to get his agenda completed, whether Satan likes it or not. So there are 3 instances of the angels. The first instance is their creation. The second instance was their probation. So they were given a certain knowledge. They didn't have to say, well, let me see. All eternity? Well, I don't know. There's fire? No, I don't know about that. They didn't have to think about it. They knew exactly what the circumstances were, and some said, no thanks. And then Michael said, who is like unto God? And they were cast into hell. So that was their test. So our probation is our entire life. I have my entire life, I don't know when I'm going to die, but to make my choice. And only after I die is my choice final. Well, the angels don't need a lifetime to figure it out. Angels knew it instantaneously, and so they made their choice. They can't go back on it. And so the third act of the angels is now either eternity in hell or eternal beatitude. So our angels now are in that third instance where they are actually in the beatific vision, experiencing the glory, the majesty, the overwhelming joy, the overwhelming just beatitude of what heaven is that we have no way of expressing in human terms. But the devils, they were cast out of wherever this probationary period was, and they are suffering the fires of hell, but they suffer it kind of like a cloud that goes with them everywhere. So they are roaming around the world, roaming throughout the earth, seeking to devour souls, seeking to bring about their ruin. So I said that their other sin besides pride was envy. Envy at what? Envy at you and envy at me. So their number one desire, their number one goal is to get us to burn in hell for eternity with them. We're going to talk about the ordinary activity of devils, just because we should be aware of how they act ordinarily.